Two people both decide on the same day to invest $1,000 a month. Same dollar amount, same fund, same patience. One of them is 25, the other is 40. At 65, the first has just over $3.5 million. The second has $740,000. Same monthly contribution, same market, same everything. The difference is 15 years of compound interest, and it is the most expensive 15 years in personal finance. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly what $1,000 a month becomes if you start at 25, 35, 45, or 55, and what the gap between any two of those numbers means for your actual life. But first, why $1,000 is the single most useful planning number you can use. $1,000 a month is the smallest amount of money that can change your life trajectory entirely on autopilot. It's small enough to be possible for most six-figure earners and a lot of five-figure earners. It's big enough that, over a normal career, compound interest does serious work with it, and it maps cleanly to the way real budgets are built. Most people think in monthly numbers, not annual ones. $12,000 a year sounds like a stretch goal. $1,000 a month sounds like a number you could find by canceling things you don't use. Same math, totally different psychology. So that's the unit we're going to run for the rest of this video, at every starting age, because the answer will probably surprise you. Before we run the ages, one assumption. The numbers in this video use a long-run average return of about 8% a year, which roughly matches what a broad US stock index fund has delivered over the last several decades, before adjusting for inflation. Some years it'll be way more. Some years it'll be way less. Some years it'll be deeply negative. But over 20, 30, 40-year periods, the average has been remarkably steady. This is not a prediction, it's a historical baseline. If you assume a more conservative 6%, the numbers get smaller, but the ratios, the gaps between starting ages, stay roughly the same. The lesson is the same no matter which assumption you pick. Start at 25. Put $1,000 a month into a broad index fund. Don't touch it. Do this every single month until 65. You will have contributed $480,000 of your own money over 40 years. That's the input. Here's the output. At 8% average growth, about $3.5 million by 65. Read that again. You put in $480,000, the market turned it into $3.5 million. The other $3 million was compounding doing its job in the background, every day, while you went to work and lived your life. The cost of that result was $1,000 a month, starting young, and not flinching when the market got scary. Now do the same thing starting at 35. Same $1,000 a month, same fund, same patience until 65. You contribute $360,000 over 30 years. The result, at 8%, just under $1.5 million. So delaying 10 years cost you about $2 million at retirement. $2 million for 1 decade. The difference isn't really that you contributed less, you contributed only $120,000 less. The difference is that the first 10 years of compounding are doing the heaviest lifting, and you skipped them. This is why every financial planner under the sun tells 20-somethings to start now, even 5% of a small salary. They're not exaggerating the urgency, the math is just brutal. Start at 45, same setup. You contribute $240,000 over 20 years. Result at 65, around $590,000. Still meaningful, still life-changing, but notice the curve. Going from 25 years of investing to 15, roughly half the result. Going from 15 to 20 was a smaller cut because that early decade of compounding is where the magic concentrates. If you're 45 and starting now, you're not too late, but you can no longer rely on time alone. You'll need to pull 2 levers, contribute more than $1,000 if you can, and stay invested through every dip. The good news is your peak earning years are right now, which makes both levers possible. Start at 55 and you have 10 years to 65. $1,000 a month for 10 years contributes $120,000. With compounding, you finish with roughly $180,000. Less impressive in multiples, but still meaningful as additional retirement runway. And here's the part most people miss. You don't have to stop at 65. If you keep contributing until 70, you'll have around $310,000. Until 75, over $500,000. Time still works in your favor when you give it more. Starting late is not a reason not to start. It's a reason to start today and let it run as long as you can. $1,000 a month is wasted if you put it in the wrong bucket. Here's the priority order most people should follow. First, capture your employer's 401k match. If your company matches 3% or more, that's free money, instantly doubling your contribution. Skipping the match is the single biggest unforced error in personal finance. Second, fill a Roth IRA to the annual contribution limit if your income qualifies. Tax-free growth for life. Third, go back to the 401k and contribute more, up to whatever percentage your budget supports. Fourth, open a taxable brokerage account for anything beyond. The bucket order matters because the tax differences between them can be 6 figures over a career. Investing $1,000 a month is easy to plan and hard to actually do for 30 years. The people who actually pull it off all share 3 habits. Habit 1, automate the transfer. Don't decide each month. Set it once, let it pull on the same day every month, and never touch the setting again. Habit 2, buy the same fund every time, on a schedule, regardless of what the market is doing. This is called dollar cost averaging, and it removes your emotions from the most expensive decision in your life. Habit 3, ignore the balance for at least a year at a time. Checking your portfolio every day is how you panic sell at the bottom of a crash. The best investors forget they're investors. There's a quiet number in this video that deserves a closer look. We've been using an 8% average return. That's roughly the long-run nominal return of a broad US stock index fund, but inflation eats some of that return every year. Over the same decades that stocks averaged 8%, inflation averaged about 3%. So your real, after inflation return, the actual increase in your purchasing power, is closer to 5% annualized. Why does this matter? Because the $3.5 million number for someone starting at 25 is in future dollars, not today's dollars. In today's purchasing power, that $3.5 million is closer to $1.5 million. Still life-changing, still a clear retirement-grade portfolio. But not the same as $1.5 million in 1994 dollars. This is the part people miss when they look at long-run investment math and think it's too good to be true. It isn't too good to be true. It's just denominated in dollars that will be worth less by the time you spend them. Plan for the real number, not the nominal headline. Here's the counterintuitive truth about dollar cost averaging that nobody on the news will tell you. When the market crashes, your monthly $1,000 buys substantially more shares than it did the month before, at much lower prices. The crash that feels like a disaster on the news is actually delivering you the best deal of the decade. Investors who panicked and sold during the 2008 crash locked in real losses. Investors who kept buying their boring monthly amount through that crash saw their portfolios more than triple over the following decade because they accumulated enormous numbers of shares at fire sale prices that recovered fully and kept climbing. The math is brutal but clear. Bear markets are where most retirement wealth is actually built, quietly, by people who kept buying when buying felt insane. Your $1,000 a month should not stop in a crash. It should accelerate, if anything. The boring move, repeated through every panic, is the one that pays. The math only works if you don't sabotage it. 3 mistakes can wipe out a decade of contributions in a week. 1. Selling everything during a crash because you can't stomach the drop. Markets recover. People who sell at the bottom turn temporary losses into permanent ones. 2. Trying to time the market by waiting for the dip. Time in the market beats timing the market every long-run study ever run. 3. Picking individual stocks instead of broad index funds. Most professional fund managers can't beat the index over 20 years. You're not going to either. Stick to the boring fund. Stay in through every crisis. The boring choice is the one that pays. So here's the whole thing. Set up an automatic transfer of $1,000 a month into a broad index fund inside the right account in the right order. Don't touch it. Don't check it. Don't try to time it. If you're 25, time alone gets you to $3.5 million. If you're 35, you need to start now and stay in. If you're 45, start now and lean into your peak earning years. If you're 55, start now and let it run as long as you keep working. There is no perfect time to start investing. There is only today, and every day you wait is the most expensive day of your financial life. If this helped, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.